welcome back to Flexx FM Sports Desk. Of course, yours truly, Nigel Blair here. And as before we go to the break, I promised you I would have a special guest for you, and I'm not going to go back on my word. I do have a special guest. With me here today, live in our studio, is none other than Mr. Todd Goodman, coach of American Heritage High School, and also DOC of West Pines United. Coach Todd.
Yes.
How are you?
Good.
Man, it's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
It's been a long time. Coach, we have known each other for several years, back in the old West Pines days.
Yes.
Right? So I do appreciate having you here on my platform, and we're going to take some time to know who Todd is.
Okay.
Coach Todd,
Oh.
or Mr. Goodman.
First of all, let me thank you for the opportunity of being your guest here on the show, and also I want to thank you for the platform that you provide to the soccer community as well.
Appreciate it, Coach. Appreciate it. So, let's jump right into it. Coach, tell me. I'm going to start this interview off in a different format.
All right.
Tell me, Todd, what early childhood?
Okay.
Who's Todd Goodman? Talk about your early childhood.
Okay. Right off the bat, I'll tell you a little story. When I was 12 years old, my parents moved from Southfield, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. We moved to Miami, Miami Shores to be exact. And back in those days, there were more well-rounded athletes. You played all of the sports. It's not like it is nowadays to where at a young age they specialize in one particular sport. Back then you played all the sports.
Right.
So I played American football, I played baseball, I played lacrosse, I played tennis, I played all the sports. So I played all the sports with all my friends, the new friends that I had just met. I was 12 years old when I had moved here. So then they had tryouts for the soccer team, and this is Miami Shores Soccer Club. So I said, of course, my friends are trying out for soccer.
Why not?
Why not? Let's give it a go. So I tried out for the team, and after tryouts, back in those days, it's a little different than it is now. It's not like nowadays you receive an email, you receive a text, you receive some type of a message. Maybe it's up on the club's website. Back then, it was basically just not even a dry erase board.
Show up.
Yeah, maybe a chalkboard, or they just line kids up and said, you're over here, you're over there. So, make a long story short, tryouts are over, and they're picking the side. They're picking the team. So I look up afterwards, I look up on the board, on the first team, and I do not see my name.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I look at the second team. I do not see my name. So now remember, I'm a 12-year-old kid, okay, trying out for the sport for the first time. Thoughts start going through my head. Maybe they misspelled my name. Maybe they used my mother's maiden name, whatever the case. And then it dawned on me when I finally saw my name on the third team. Yeah. It finally dawned on me that I had made the first team nor the second team. So at that point, this little 12-year-old kid's eyes start welling up with tears. And back in those days, little boys weren't supposed to cry. And if you've ever tried to hold back tears, it only makes it worse. I mean, my tears probably could have filled up the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, I know how that is.
So not only did I not make the team, now I'm crying, okay, in front of everyone, all right? And that's a lesson in adversity. What do you do when adversity hits? That's a life lesson. Some people, maybe they quit, maybe they pack it in, maybe they're done.
Right.
Other people can use that as motivation.
It's great motivation too.
So that little 12-year-old kid, okay, came back the next year, still didn't make the first team, but made the second team. Okay, so a little progress. Okay, the following year, finally made the first team. Went on to star for his high school team. I went to North Miami Senior High School.
Okay.
Probably the best high school team to never win a state championship. That's our claim to fame. Went on collegiately, won a national championship at the junior college at the JUCO level, and then accepted a full scholarship to University of Central Florida, which is Division I. Wound up playing professionally in 3 different countries. Now, the moral of that story is the adversity that I had come through when I was a 12-year-old child, okay, fueled the motivation that helped propel me to those type of achievements. And I always played, as well as I still coach, with a chip on my shoulder, because I always remember that little 12-year-old kid that didn't make that first team.
You know, that's a great lesson for young kids who are listening and watching you right now. That's a great motivation story, because looking back, I can see myself also in situations like that.
Sure.
But the key was never give up. Now let me ask you, because you played several sports when you were young. What made you choose soccer as the one to focus on?
I played American football up to probably around 14, 15. Okay, and when you are, I don't know, 5'8" and 140 pounds, American football may not be in your future. All right, so I really took to the real football. I really took to soccer, and just kept working on my game, improving my game. Fell in love with the game, fostered a passion for the game, and that's all I ever wanted to do.
Now, you mentioned in your story earlier that you went on to the collegiate level. You played in the collegiate level, and then you went and played in several different countries.
Correct.
Where did you go to play?
Well, coming out of UCF, it was in '85, and in that period of time, they didn't have outdoor professional soccer in the United States. It was in between when the NASL had folded, and I guess the new NASL or ASL was formed. So there was a period of time there where there was, again, not professional outdoor soccer. So I wound up playing for the Milwaukee Wave, which is an indoor soccer team. And that's the team that I played for here in the United States.
Okay, and then from there?
From there, and you know, in soccer, just like in life, sometimes it comes down to a little bit of luck and a little bit of timing, a little bit of being in the right place at the right time. So I was with Milwaukee, and then the following year, when my contract had terminated, I was picked up by the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Again, we're still talking indoor soccer. And I was thrilled. I was thrilled to be back in the state of Florida. I had gone to UCF, so I wasn't too far from where I was collegiately. It was wonderful. I was there for a few months. They called me into the office, and they told me I had been traded. Okay, so I said, okay, fine. Where am I traded to? And they told me Kalamazoo Kangaroos. Kalamazoo is in Michigan. Now, prior to that, I had played in the Haitian League down at the old Miami baseball stadium, if you remember those days. Now, when I was playing there, there was a gentleman in the crowd, a Jamaican gentleman, okay, who owned a team down in Jamaica. He asked me and my friend at the time to come down to Jamaica for a week to play against an exhibition game against the national champion. The national champion at the time was Wadada. Okay, so now I'm going back a ways. Yes, I'm going back a ways. So we went down there for the week, had a tremendous time. It was brilliant. I mean, we loved it. He asked us to stay. He offered us a contract. Me, again, I was with Tampa Bay. I was thrilled, so I turned it down. My friend still had a year left of eligibility. So now, when they told me that I was traded to Kalamazoo, I wound up going home, calling him, telling him that things didn't work out as originally planned. And the following day, I had a ticket waiting for me from Air Jamaica to go down to Kingston. I played there for a couple of years, and again, right place, right time.
Yeah.
He had brought in a scout from Israel. My coach, I played for a side in Kingston, Jamaica by name of Swallowfield Football Club. He had brought in a scout from Israel who wound up taking me, Peter Cargill.
Of the Reggae Boys.
Exactly. And Paul Davis, T-Got Davis.
Also of the Reggae Boys.
Exactly. I stayed there for 2 years. Peter was there for...
This is in Israel.
This is in Israel, yes. I had played for 2 separate teams. Originally, I went to Hapoel Ramat Gan, which is in Tel Aviv, which is the south part of Israel. And then ultimately, I wound up with Hapoel Nazareth Elite, which is now Hapoel Nof HaGalil, which is in the northern part of Israel. So we went to three separate teams in Israel.
Wow.
So it just shows you. And that's something that I always try to relay to my players, no matter where we're playing, whether it's a state championship game, whether it's a scrimmage game, whether it's a practice, you never know who's watching.
Now, here's a funny story I'm going to tell you, and I've known you for years, right? Background. You were born in...
I was born in Newark, New Jersey, and we moved to Miami when I was 11 years old.
Now, are any of your parents from the Caribbean?
No.
No?
No.
You know, there's a lot of people watching this interview that's going to say, all these years we know Todd. We always thought he was from somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe a little bit in the accent.
Yeah.
Maybe I picked up some things
Or you
here
stayed
and
in
there.
Jamaica too long?
I don't know about too long. Maybe not long enough. One of the favorite places, countries I've ever visited in my life. We still go back now with my wife. Nowadays we go to Negril, but
We all do when we go down there, tourists.
but yeah, we're foreign. But absolutely love the country, love the culture, love everything about it.
Nice. Okay, so now you're back in the United States, right? And where does that lead you as far as soccer that it takes you now? Because now you have transitioned into coaching, right?
Right.
You're a coach of an elite high school, and you're also a coach of an elite club team, right? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I think I have the best of both worlds when it comes to club and it comes to high school. People may not know this, and I know you alluded to it initially when we started this, but we have a common denominator with your older son, Junie.
Yes.
Junie played for years for West Pines United, where I am now the director of coaching, and furthermore, Junie played for American Heritage Plantation High School, where I coach the boys team over there at the school. So in the high school, I run that program. So I run the boys program over there, which we have a middle school, we have a JV, a junior varsity, and then I coach the actual varsity team. And then over at club at West Pines United, I am the director of coaching, which means I oversee the operations of the club.
Coaches, the whole operation.
Yeah, coaches, players, parents, the whole operation.
That's great, Coach. Let's before we get to West Pines, let's talk a little bit about American Heritage.
Okay.
Right. As I said, an elite high school. You know. A team that has won many championships.
Okay. 8 to be exact.
See, you're on the ball. But let's talk about when you first took over the Heritage team.
Okay.
Right? I know at that point there were I would call it in a transitional period.
Yes.
Right. And you went on to take that team and rebuild to become another championship school to look forward to. Now, tell me, how was that transition for you?
Initially, the transition wasn't easy. You're coming into a team, a culture, a system of play that is different than your own.
Right.
In high school, you don't have the benefit that you may have in club, to where you have a big turnover and you can bring in players who you are looking to bring in to fit your style of play.
Right.
In high school, more or less, you have what you have, and then you've got to mold, you've got to create a team. So it was a little difficult initially, and then, it took a couple of years. This was now my 9th year at the program. So
Is it?
yes, so it took me, I believe approximately 3 years, because championship teams aren't built overnight.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's far and few when a Cinderella team appears out of nowhere and wins a championship. Now, it happens, sure. I mean, that's the beauty of sports. That's the beauty of athletics. But more times than not, it takes a series of years to cultivate that team into creating a championship. So I was able to win our first state championship, I believe, 4 years. Yes, 4 years into Heritage. We won it again this year. We've now won 3 state championships out of the past 5 years, but who's counting?
No, I was looking at the stats, years leading up to, when you took over, and of course they had, when my son was there, they won 3. Okay, and then there was a space in between there, right? And you came along and you were able to build it back to, and you also won 3 state championships.
Right.
That as a high school coach is a great accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Not only that, coach of what? The year? How many times?
Again, who's counting? I've now won Coach of the Year on 8 separate occasions through 8 different organizations. And in the end, I can tell you, at American Heritage Plantation, which, as you know, is a college preparatory school,
right.
It is one of the top schools in the nation. Soccer is secondary. As much of soccer people as we are,
right.
and we eat, breathe, and live the game of soccer, at American Heritage Plantation, it's secondary. It's all about academics and the opportunities that they provide.
Right.
So with all the rings, all the trophies, everything that we've won, it pales in comparison to the amount of kids that we've been able to put into school. The amount of kids, whether they go on and play football or not at the next level,
right.
but the life lessons that we've taught and the amount of kids that go on to the next level collegiately, and not everyone's going to become a professional soccer player,
right.
okay, but they're going to become professional citizens and try to make this world a better place.
Great. And I can attest to that, because of course my son went through 4 years of at American Heritage, and you're right, the academics that supersede everything else. Great sport program, and to go with that. Now, what's in store for you now at American Heritage?
Well, as I tell the boys, and we've experienced this a couple years ago, there's nothing more difficult than winning a state championship, which we just accomplished. The only thing more difficult than winning a state championship is defending a state championship, because everyone comes at you every game like it's their World Cup final.
Yep.
I mean, not only are you American Heritage Plantation, but now you're the defending state champion. You watch some of teams play against us, and then all of a sudden you watch them 2 weeks later play against somebody else, and you say, "Is that the same team?" So that's the challenge that we have this year. We've lost some seniors like everybody else and like we do every year, but we certainly have some people ready to step up, and it's their turn, it's their opportunity.
Okay. You're not in season now, right?
No, not now. Our tryouts will begin in October, and the season runs to around the mid part of February.
Okay. And do you oversee the girls program also, or just the boys program?
No, two separate entities. I just oversee the boys program, but as you mention it, let me give a shout out to our girls program who won the state championship this year as well.
Yeah, I noticed that. So all rounded.
Yes.
I guess you lead by example.
Well, I'm not sure who's leading.
Who won
but,
first?
What, this year?
Yeah.
They played before we played, so I want to say they played maybe on a Friday, we played on a Saturday.
So they set the trend.
They set the trend, and they put a little extra pressure on us, but thankfully the boys performed the way we all knew they would.
I tell you, I do follow you guys because, of course, God, my son went there. I'm a alma mater. Talk to me about West Pines.
Well, I've been with West Pines United now for upwards of 20 years.
Can't count.
20 years. Yeah, well, I can count to 20. 20 years.
When we first came to West Pine, we were playing like we were young kids.
Yeah. Times.
So you know how long ago that
Yeah. No. The time goes by quickly.
Oh, yes.
But like I said, I've been there for upwards of 20 years. Have watched the program grow. We're a community-based club, okay, and we provide players opportunities at all different levels of play. From a beginning type player to an advanced type player. We compete in local, state, regional, as well as national leagues. We've always had a long storied history of player development. We've always been the club known for player development. Our emphasis is player development within a team concept. We've been fortunate enough to be able to put our players to the next level. Collegiately, we've recently become an affiliate member of Inter Miami, the academy. So we've put some players over there to Inter Miami as well. So we really emphasize what's right for the individual player. And that's been our motto. That's something that hasn't changed through the year, and that's something that will never change. So when you come to West Pines United, it's a family. Okay. And I'm not just saying, a lot of people will try to say something like family, but there's just a different feel, there's just a different vibe, and there's pride in the jersey, and it's really a family, and that's what I love so much about West Pines United.
Okay. For the what are the age groups at West Pines?
Well, now we've instituted an academy, so we start them. Yes, we start them a little earlier than we used to. So our academy starts at 5. We have upwards of about 80 children in our academy now, both boys and girls. And then the competitive side begins at 8. Okay. So we start at U9, okay, and we go all the way now to U19, both boys and girls.
Oh, beautiful. Now for the parents who are watching, their young boys or girl that want to join the West Pines Club, how do they get in touch with you, with the club?
Well, they can go to our website, which is See, I'm a little old school. I'm still saying www. So it's westpinesunited.org. We do have tryouts right around the corner. So our tryouts begin on May 1st. They go through the first week of May. So we encourage everybody to pre-register for our tryouts. Come on out, take a look at our program, take a look at what we have to offer. We've got a tremendous coaching staff. We have arguably the finest facilities in South Florida. We're now over at Chapel Trail Soccer Park.
Okay.
Back when Junie was with us, we were over at Silver Lakes North primarily, which is a park that we still play out of, but our primary home is Chapel Trail Soccer Park, which affords us 4 full regulation lighted fields.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
A clubhouse, a training room, concessions. Like I said, arguably the finest facilities in South Florida.
Very nice, very nice. Now let's talk about some of your coaching skills. Question that, and I've asked many coaches these following questions.
Okay.
One, as a coach, right? How do you deal with criticism?
Criticism directed at myself?
Yeah, directed at your coaching.
Actually, I encourage constructive criticism, yes. I encourage that because I've got a staff of coaches, and on my staff, another common denominator, a couple of coaches that you know, and one coach who actually coached Junie. On my staff over at American Heritage, my high school, is Tony March, okay, who was Junie's coach over over at West Pines United.
And I look forward to having him sitting in that chair.
David Cunningham, who's another long-standing coach over there at West Pines United.
Right.
And I do have a goalkeeper coach by name of Joe McIntyre. Okay. And after the matches, I encourage them, and we sit down as a staff, okay, and we critique. So that, I don't believe that you can grow as a person, as a coach. I don't believe that you can develop, because we all talk about player development till we're blue in the face. That seems to be the buzzword, right. Player development. But there's also coaches development. And it's a relatively simple game, but the game is ever evolving. The game changes. The players change. Right. The systems, the formations, as coaches, sometimes we try to overcomplicate things. We try to overcoach from time to time. Right. To me, it's all predicated on a 4-3-3 and a 4-4-2. So we can call it whatever we want, and we can tweak it however we wish, which I do plenty of times as well, but that's where it derives from. Right. So getting back to your original question, whether it's at American Heritage, whether it's at West Pines United, I think the strength that I've been able to create is not having individual coaches with individual teams doing their own individual thing. Right. We're a staff. We're together, we feed off each other, and suggestions, comments, and that's how we all grow.
That's why you're so successful at what you do, you know.
And one more thing, having success, and this was not easy for me, trust me when I tell you, is the ability to delegate. Right. Okay, sometimes head coaches, they just want to do everything, okay? But if you've got a staff and you surround yourself with the type of coaches that I've been able to do at both American Heritage and West Pines United, you've got to learn to delegate, and you've got to learn to give responsibility. And in the end, that's what a program is.
You have to put the trust in the people that you're delegating.
Precisely.
To, you know, the thing. Okay, so here's another stone thrown at you. Okay, dealing with the players is one thing.
Okay.
Parents.
Okay.
How do you deal with parents who saying that their kids are not getting enough playing time, or they're not playing in the right position? I mean, how do you deal with that? How do you handle it?
Well, I mean, that's always the most difficult issue when you get into competitive sports. I mean, my philosophy is minutes are earned, they're not necessarily given.
Right.
Okay. Now, with that being said, whenever you have the opportunity to provide those minutes, okay, as a coach, okay, that's your responsibility. Okay. All of us as coaches, you get into certain situations, certain tense moments of a game where you can't make a change. I mean, that's understandable.
It's just part of the
Yeah, and that gets back to the philosophy that I have as that 12-year-old kid who forget about not getting minutes and forget about not playing in the position that his parents wanted him to play in. That gets back to that kid not making the team. So I'm always sensitive to that particular situation. Okay, but again, in the end, the players have to fight their own battles and use it as motivation. Now, what I like to pride myself in as a coach is I see the game a little bit differently than the average person. Meaning I've seen it as a player who's played at arguably
levels.
one of the highest levels.
Right.
I've seen it as a coach. I've seen it as a director. But most importantly, I've seen it as a parent. I've had both of my daughters, Maya and Leah,
Right.
have both played the game as well. So I see the game from a lot of different angles. So when it comes to that type of a perspective in dealing with the parents, I like to think that gives me an edge over other directors when dealing with those sensitive type situations.
Well put, Coach. Well said. And as I looked up at the clock, at times is not allowing us to go as deep as we want to.
I feel we just started.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We just started. You know,
Well, maybe it'll be the sequel. When is the sequel? When's part 2?
sequel coming soon.
Soon come.
Soon come. Right? Now, you've played all over the world. You've played locally. You've done so many different things in the soccer world, right? With the young players, the young kids that are watching right now, right? Those who may have already started in the soccer world, who wants to get into the soccer world, right? What message would you give to the young players watching now to prepare themselves to play travel soccer or to be able to play at a school like an American Heritage?
Okay.
You know, what message would you give to them?
Believe in yourself. Always have confidence. Confidence to me is probably the differential factor in a player's ability. You see sometimes the best players, when they lose confidence, all of a sudden they struggle to perform. Right. So stay confident and believe in yourself. Don't let a coach take away your confidence. I'm getting back to that 12-year-old boy.
Right.
Don't let an opposing coach, don't let a player, an opposing player, believe in yourself, believe in your ability, realize your dream, set goals, but set realistic goals. Don't just set a goal, I'm going to be a professional soccer player, okay? Set small goals, which ultimately may lead to that opportunity. Start off maybe, again, that 12-year-old kid, make the first team, the second team in your age group. Go try out for ODP. Your high school team. If you get the opportunity to play in college. And that's one thing I want to touch on real quickly, because I hear a lot of these kids and all they do is walk around saying, you know, I'm going to play Division I, Division I, Division I. And college soccer should merely be the vehicle that enables you to further your college education. So at this point, it doesn't matter. I went the junior college route. It doesn't matter if you go junior college, NAIA, Division III, Division II, Division I. College soccer is college soccer. And it's not like divisions that you see in club to where there's Division I, Division II, Division III. Some of your Division III teams will beat your Division I teams.
Exactly.
Just, again, set goals for yourself. Set realistic goals, believe in yourself, have confidence, and no regrets. If something doesn't work out in the end, just be able to look yourself in the mirror and say you gave it everything that you could.
You gave it your all. You gave it your all. Coach, I do appreciate you coming on this platform. I tell you, you had a lot of information. A lot of things that I didn't know about you. I'm surprised myself that some of these things I didn't know, and we have known each other for so long.
Sure.
You know, but that's the foundation of this platform, is to put, you know, coaches like yourself, and so the world can see the things that you're doing. I mean, we can't say thank you enough for the time that you take to, groom our children.
Sure.
You know, and with not just the playing of the ball, but the love that you put into this thing, right? The love that you have for these children, for these players, you know. And I just want to thank you, and I'm sure my viewers want to say thank you, our American Heritage viewers, our West Pines viewers. Listen, if you see players jump team to come to you, I'm not saying that now, I'm just saying it's the tremendous job that you're doing. Once again, Coach, I want to thank you.
No, sure.
You know, thank you for showing up on my platform. And once again, to my viewers, locally, international, I want to thank you for taking the time out to be with us here on our platform today. And as usual, remember, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here on FlexFM.online, on Flexx FM Sports on your YouTube channel. I will bring you our latest in our CASA, our latest in our Jamaican Premier League, and I will always have a special guest for you right here on this platform to share their life stories and information that you can use to move on. Until next week, this is Nigel saying, see you there.